Well, there are mixed reactions this evening to the opposition People's National Party's new shadow cabinet. The announcement was made Monday morning with several notable changes. The PNP says the appointments are aimed at strengthening its readiness to govern and providing robust oversight of the current administration. But commentators have concerns. Carla Ramdeen has the details.
Public Service, supported by Senators Ramon Ferguson and Lambert Brown. Peter Bunting takes on productivity, efficiency and competitiveness, with Senator Cleveland Tomlinson as deputy spokesperson. Dr. Dayton Campbell continues to shadow agriculture, fisheries and food security. In human development, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke will oversee social protection, while Damian Crawford takes charge of education and early child development. Dr. Alfred Dawes is tasked with health and wellness, and Wavell Hines with the labor and sports. Denise Daly, gender, the elderly and persons with disabilities, and Kenneth Russell for rural and community development. Luthen Cousins will handle land, settlements and titling. Dennis Gordon, urban renewal and redevelopment. Mikhail Phillips will oversee transport and mining. Ian Hales will focus on water and special transport. And Omar Newell will focus on environment and climate resilience. Richard Azan will cover road and works, and Senator Floyd Morris will be responsible for housing and sustainable living. Governance responsibilities are also spread across the team, with Senator Donna Scott Motley covering for foreign affairs, Fitz Jackson on national security, and Natalie Nita Garvey on local government and participatory democracy. Zalika Jess will cover justice and Aisat Buchanan for youth and human rights. The shadow cabinet will focus on 4 key areas: economic growth, human development, physical development, and governance. Social commentator Sandra Roden says there are some notable surprises.
There's a switch from national security, which of course Peter Bunting was Minister of National Security, was spokesperson on national security. Now it's Fitz Jackson that wears the hat of national security, which is interesting. For tourism and linkages, this one is quite interesting as well, because it's Andrea Perkis that takes on that role of spokesperson for tourism and linkages. I don't know much of her in that space. Probably there's more to learn as it relates to her own expertise and what she brings to the table. Of course, we see Zulika Jess coming in as spokesperson for justice. That's an interesting addition as well.
He says the opposition leader's portfolio of constitutional affairs is interesting.
He takes on defense and constitutional affairs, which is interesting, which means that we should expect to see more of the leader of the opposition in relation to that conversation of constitutional affairs. You know, he has some perspectives as it relates to what we should do and how we should do it all at once, particularly in relation to our final court. Of course, there is a bit of an impasse there from both sides when it comes on to that key area of constitutional reform.
Political commentator Lloyd B. Smith sees the shadow cabinet as experimental, adding that it seems to be more focused on giving as many members of parliament some experience in governmental affairs, which he says poses some concerns.
I see where a number of newly named portfolios have been added. And this begs the question as to whether or not, if the PNP should form a future government, would it go the same route as the JLP in packing the executive with so many members of parliament who, in my estimation, should be out there focusing more on representational politics.
While Professor of Education Policy Canute Thompson argues the shadow cabinet provides a good use of members of parliament's talents, but he questions if they will deliver on their positions. He says there should be a manual on shadow subject matter.
Many of the assignees are returning to positions or subject matters they once shadowed. There are a few changes in relation to foreign affairs, for example, which I believe can be justified. I think the use of the number of first-time MPs, Burchell, Dawes, Hines, Brown, among others, reflect good use. Will they deliver? What are their tasks, what are the parameters, what are the deliverables. And I believe that that is something that the PNP needs to make very, very clear. What is this business of shadowing, and how do you deliver benefits to the community, to the country, by your evaluation of the performance of your counterpart and by holding him or her accountable.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.